Chapter 17. The beginning of complaints. Numbers 11, 1-9. And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord. And the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Lord burnt among them, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moses, and when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again, and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers, and the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes. And the manna was a coriander seed, and the colour thereof as the colour of bdellium. And the people went about and gathered it, and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar, and baked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Numbers 11, 1-9. This episode occurs at a place called Taberah, or burning, because we are told there, the fire of the Lord burnt among them. Verse 3. Hebrews 12:29 tells us, Our God is a consuming fire. We're given no details concerning this fire. Since it consumed some who were in the uttermost parts of the camp, we can assume that it came out of the centre, the sanctuary. Fire went out from God in judgment upon the people to destroy many of them. The immediate cause of this judgment was the cry, Who shall give us flesh to eat? Verse 4. Israel had left Egypt with its livestock. This they apparently did not want to use. They preferred whining to God for a miracle to provide them with meat. The complaint began with the mixed multitude, of whom more will be said later, the foreigners and other Israelites who had left Egypt together. These foreigners were Egyptians and other peoples. Because they were less restrained, these aliens expressed the discontent first, but the blood Hebrews soon echoed it. In fact, we are told they felt so sorry for themselves that they wept. John Knox, a man without self-pity, whether a galley slave or a hunted man, declared that God must be judged not by what he does for us, but by what he says in his word. I measure not the truth in favour of God by having or by lacking of bodily necessities, but by the promise which he has made to me. And he himself is immutable, so is his word and his promise constant, which I believe, and to which I adhere, and so cleave, whatever can come to the body outwardly. Israel had been delivered from slavery, and from an effort to destroy them as a people. All they could remember of Egypt was a wretched matter of diet. According to Herodotus, Egypt fed the pyramid workers, and no doubt all its enforced labour forces, radishes, onions, and leeks, a meagre diet. Looking back now, they idealised their life in Egypt. They had been fed as slaves. By contrast, they felt God was not feeding them as well. Their diet was now restricted in the main to manna, and they were already weary of it. They felt entitled to better things than God gave them, and they wept in self-pity. The taste of the manna was as the taste of fresh oil, or of a dainty dish prepared with oil. According to Exodus 16:31, the taste was like that of wafers made with honey. The fact that the complaining began among the aliens or riffraff is of interest. A people with a strong faith can absorb great numbers of aliens and command their allegiance while converting them to their beliefs and culture. When the faith of the dominant majority wanes, the militant minorities begin to sway and govern it. Israel's hunger for fresh vegetables, fish, and meat was stronger than its love of God and freedom under God. Israel felt entitled to better than God gave them, and so he gave them judgment. Similarly, mothers have often told weepy, unruly children, "If you want something to cry about, I'll give it to you." However, we should not judge the manna by Israel's complaints, Asaph tells us in Psalm 78:22-25, that the manna was angels' food and the corn of heaven. The health and preservation enjoyed in the wilderness by Israel makes it clear that Israel's description of the manna was not true. Their professed aversion to it tells us more about them than about manna. Israel whined about the diet, and then it cried out against God's judgment. Moses interceded with God, and the judgment was halted. Verse 2. The only result, we are told, verse 4, is that they wept again, asking, "Who will provide us with meat?" They wanted the best possible diet, not freedom and responsibility. Israel's complaint is, "Our soul, or our life or strength, is dried up." Verse 6. This in itself was a lie. They were provided with a superior and nutritious food. They wanted, however, something to appeal to their appetite, and they found God wanting for failing to provide it. Theirs was the sin both of discontent and ingratitude. Given the realities of their situation, they should have been grateful to be alive, and, given the magnificence of their deliverance and providential care, they should have been not only contented, but also thankful. Years ago, as a child, I heard someone comment with telling accuracy, as events soon showed, "An ungrateful man is dangerous." The word complained in verse 1 can be translated as murmured. Not the goodness of God, but their own desires governed them, so that, when they opened their mouths, they revealed an ungrateful and complaining heart. The fact that their complaints were directed at Moses did not negate the fact that it was God whom they found unsatisfactory. All too much complaining and murmuring on our part is against providence. We find God's providence unsatisfactory, and we therefore complain about particular things rather than openly challenging God and His government. Israel had at Sinai covenanted to obey God and to keep His law. All too quickly, it was clear that they wanted only good from God and no testing or trouble. This complaining spirit remained with Israel, flaring up again and again over the years. For this reason, the older generation was kept in the wilderness for 40 years to die there. God rightly saw complaining as a form of rebellion, and He never rewarded such behavior. A socialist society rewards complaining, envy, and ingratitude, all things that God hates. The status order so created becomes steadily anti-Christian, and it corrupts all that it touches. The word translated as leeks apparently means herbs. Fish were in antiquity especially abundant in the Nile, and they were thus a free part of the people's diet. Because of the plentiful supply of herbs, foods in ancient Egypt were well spiced and were therefore easily made more appealing. These things meant more to the people than God's covenant and their freedom. Their long servitude in Egypt had made them slaves in spirit. We must remember the similarity between a welfare economy or a socialistic state and slavery. Responsibility is replaced with the expectancy of being helped. A sense of entitlement governs people, and even God is approached with an entitlement mentality. The purpose of God's judgment is the destruction of this evil mentality. The Septuagint for verse 1 reads, "And the people murmured sinfully before the Lord." St. Paul refers to this in 1 Corinthians 10:10. "Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer." God could not build his kingdom with such a people, and so he destroyed them. Thomas Scott's comment is excellent. Fallen man is a discontented creature, for having forsaken his proper rest, he feels himself uneasy and wretched how much soever he is prospered or distinguished. Ambition, sensuality, covetousness, and malice are diseases of the soul, which are not abated, but increased by indulgence. And they who are under the power of them, like persons in a fever, are continually desirous of changing their place or posture, as if that were the cause of the disquietude, which indeed springs merely from distemper. While this is the case, every appointment of God must excite secret or open complaint, and though discontent has its abatements and paroxysms, yet there is no cure till the soul return to its rest, in the knowledge, love, and favour of God, and in a cordial reliance on his wisdom, truth, and power, and in acquiescence in his will. Humanistic scholars regard the Bible as a product of Hebrew culture, and it has become commonplace to write of Israel's genius for religion. Gleason L. Archer Jr. corrected this idea, calling attention instead to what he called the natural Hebrew genius for irreligion and apostasy. The term mixed multitude is translated as rabble by some commentators. The Hebrew text refers to a collection of peoples. The implication is that there was a lack of any cohesive element. These were people who had come together with no common bond except to complain. The fact that they could dominate all Israel indicates the religious and moral bankruptcy of the people. The temper of a mob can work only where there is no superior or governing faith. A rabble is swayed by the moment's impulse. A people of faith are not subject to such shallow emotions and experiences. They are governed by God. When I was a boy, Numbers 11, 1-9, was a text much preached upon. The necessity for a thankful heart was stressed, and the need to see God's providence in all things. We will continue with the study of this important text because it is so much needed in our time.